So on the last video, someone said, Tarke, you need to do videos with your cat because you don't do any videos with your cat. So this is going to be my 3.14 League starter video. Cat, please, Bubs. Oh, Bubs is being friendly. I've got my phone sort of balanced on the duvet. So this sort of works. So what is my 3.14 League Bubs? Okay, so what is my 3.14 League starter? And before I get into that, also shout out to Bex, because Bex was like, Tarky, your thumbnail game is weak. You need better thumbnails, like just your face and like words would be better. So I got a whiteboard and I wrote on the other side, but it's a surprise. This is what happens when I try and follow advice. The front cam mirrors it. Look, it's backwards. It's useless, isn't it? So yeah, this high quality video. So what is my 3.14 League starter? My 3.14 League starter is Raider. I don't actually know the rest of it, but it's going to be something Raider. Either Raider Course to Carry or Raider Traps. I haven't quite decided. I'm playing SSF again. Sorry, private league people. My thought process with Raider is sorry, it's just Bubs. My thought process with Raider is I think that Raider is going to be the best ascendancy for the league mechanic. So from conversations we've had with Rory on Baycast, from what we've just seen of the Ultimatum League, you want a you want a character which has very good uptime on phasing. You want a character with very good uptime of phasing. I've got a sloped ceiling as well. Oh god, it's just sort of sitting on you now. You want a character with very good uptime on phasing, and you want a character with very high mobility, and you want a character with good defense. So my idea is, but by having very high mobility, I can not stand in the nasty things. Oh, she's getting relaxed now. And by having good avoidance, I can not get damaged by the things. And phasing means I can run through all the things. You also want a build which does one of two things. You either want a build which has very high visibility, as in your skills don't cause everything to be like impossible to see, like Cremation. Cremation is an amazing build. Would recommend it under usual circumstances, but if you're fighting in a small arena and you need to be able to see things clearly, like Bubs' beautiful face, then Cremation suddenly isn't a great option. So yeah, I'm ruling that one out. For traps can be pretty intense on the screen, but Fire Trap is pretty calm on the screen. Ice Trap isn't that bad on the screen, and it freezes everything. If everything's frozen, then it doesn't matter if you can't see it as clearly, so that's kind of whatever. Explosive Trap is very screen clutter. Lightning Trap, I've played so much Lightning Trap that I can actually see through the Lightning Trap, and Lightning Trap just hits everything, so I think that'll be safe. But anyway, getting kind of distracted. So if you want to think like, well, what is a build that I can play where I can actually see what's happening, or if I can't see what's happening, I'm safe enough that it doesn't matter that I can't see, right? So with my whole like Raider, either Course Go, either Trap thing, I've actually got a sort of plan where I can route the tree in a way that I can level as Course to Carry into Lightning Trap, and then depending on just what items I get will dictate what I play. One other big advantage for playing Course to Carry in SSF is easy access to 6 links, because I can just farm the Imperial Legacy. My camera is doing something weird. So maybe this is very uncomfortable. I hope you appreciate the amount of effort I'm going in, random YouTube commenter. If that guy doesn't watch this video, I'm going to be seriously annoyed. So yeah. I mean, that's it really. Basically, I would route through the early proj nodes. And then if I'm like, sod it, let's go traps, I'd then go up from Ranger towards Shadow. Look at the pooch. And I would get the trap frenzy charge nodes. Then if I'm sticking traps, I'd skedaddle across, dip down, grab acro, go straight up, get all the trap stuff. Then I'd come along the top outside of Shadow, dip down into Shadow start. I would then skedaddle across into Scion, pick up the appropriate trap stuff. And then when I feel like I need it, I would come down from acro and I would pick up a Wind Dancer. That's if I went traps. That's assuming that I went lightning trap. If I ended up not going lightning trap, if I went ice trap, which I'm quite tempted by, I would then just go out of ranger, life, down, wind dancer, acro, then up and around. The other reason why raid would be good for a trap build, because you're like, well, why would you play raider traps in the first place? So you get the phasing, which is obviously good. You get the defense, you get all the evasion, you get all the avoidance, you get all the movement speed. Okay, that all makes sense. But like, where's the damage? So they've actually nerfed exposure across the board and making it much harder to get high exposure values. Well, Raider has generic 20% elemental exposure, and traps have very high damage effectiveness. So you're like, oh, actually that makes a lot of sense. What you could do is you could stack a bunch of just flat random LE damage to spells, have global exposure, and because you've got global exposure, you don't need like a trigger weapon, and they've nerfed trigger weapon from 4 seconds to 8 seconds. So like, oh, Raider actually seems pretty good. And then you're like, but Onslaught gives cast speed, and cast speed gives trap throwing speed if you have the incursion gloves, and they've made the base incursion gloves better. Brain boggling. You can see it all sort of comes together. Yeah. So that's sort of the thought process. For other builds, I would recommend to people outside of my weird either Corsica either trap thing. I haven't quite decided yet. You could do Essence Rain Contagion. I think Essence Rain Contagion would be very strong. Essence Rain Contagion was one that I was seriously thinking about. The reason why I decided to go for either Raider Core Scout or Raider Traps over Essence Rain Contagion is I want to be farming Lab and SSF for Helm enchants. Get your hat enchants. And yeah, it's just Raiders. Again, Raiders good at Lab. I think Raiders the ascendancy. Just play a Raider basically. I think that slams are still super strong. I was talking to Octavian yesterday about a Val Grand Slam Slayer build he planned out. I thought that was pretty neat. Vortex is always great. Vortex Cold Snap. I prefer self-cast. I'm not a big fan of the whole spell. I just think spell slinging's kind of lame, to be honest. Normally I'd recommend bleed bows, but I don't know if I would with the changes. Would I recommend the new skills? Recommending new skills is always dangerous, especially since we haven't had the gem info yet for their max level stuff. If you want to go that route, at least build it in a way that you can safely swap into something else. That's always my go-to recommendation. If you're gonna play a new ability for Leaguestart, please plan that you have a safety net of I can swap this into something else. Please. Please. For people who were desperate to play Toxic Rain again, Toxic Rain is dead. I actually don't think Toxic Rain got hit that bad. Yeah, it's insane top end got kind of muted a bit, but the middle investment Toxic Rain build should be exactly the same. Also, I was talking to Octavian about this. I'm pretty sure we'll start seeing people who have one bow and quiver set up for map clear, and then they weapon swap into another bow running conk effect, and you actually reduce AoE as much as possible to get more pod overlap. I think that's going to be an actual thing. And if you're like, well, Tarke, if you can get as much damage by just reducing AoE while they make the change, it means that you actually have to invest into reduced AoE and having another setup, and you need a mapping setup and a bossing setup rather than the old way, which was you boosted your damage while also boosting your map clear, which is a bit OP. I think Ignite's going to be great. I would normally recommend Armageddon Brand Ignite. Armageddon Brand Ignite can be a bit screen cluttery. So maybe go for Discharge Ignite or just the good old Vol Fireball. Pretty tasty, pretty tasty. What doesn't screw the screen? Trying to list builds that don't just clutter the screen is actually really difficult. Herald of Agony doesn't really have much screen clutter. Herald of Purity doesn't have much screen clutter. Holy Relic doesn't have much screen clutter. There are actually sub-minion builds which aren't too intense on the screen. I think the whole kinetic bolt volley thing's pretty cool, but it's a bit screen. I generally like Trinity builds. Trinity Ellie hit. I also think Trinity Explosive Arrow is pretty neat, but they're all just a bit flashy. Yeah. So basically, to summarize, I'm going to be doing something with Raider, either course to carry or traps. I've just realized I've spent most of this video just talking to my cat's bottom, which is a bit bizarre. Ow, ow. Sorry, Bubs. Sorry. Low ceiling. That was ow. I'm Tarke. That's Bubs. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Bubs, good night. Yeah. No, hang on. Sorry. Just cheers.